Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start just by congratulating both of you on your nominations, and I'm thanking you for your long careers in public service and your families for their patience, persistence, and support, not just during your careers, but during this hearing. I'd like to start by simply adding that I agree with Senator Franken that I think the Attorney General should return to this committee and clarify his answers under previous questioning. I think it's important that we resolve the currently unresolved issues that I think were not clarified in his written response to this committee. Mr. Rosenstein, is it ever appropriate for the President or senior White House officials to contact the Department of Justice or the FBI with instructions or directions on how to conduct an ongoing criminal investigation?
If there are any contacts about ongoing criminal investigations, Senator, they should be directly with the Deputy Attorney General. I imagine there may be contexts, particularly with their national security equities or foreign affairs issues, where it might be appropriate in a particular case. The presumption is no, and only the deputy should be in position, coordination with the Attorney General, to make a determination in any individual case whether there's an appropriate basis for an exception to that general rule.
The presumption is no. There should be limited and narrow contacts, and in no way should those contacts be designed to thwart, stonewall, or shut down an investigation that is well-founded in proceeding. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We spoke previously about your commitment to preserving the independence and public confidence in our law enforcement system. And I think your admirable record of public service and your personal testimony at the outset reinforces that. Given the unanimous opinion of our Intelligence Committee that Russia did in fact interfere in our election, and troubling evidence of actual contacts and even possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, would you agree that it's vital to the assurance of confidence in our democracy and law enforcement system that any investigation into these matters be fair, free, thorough, and politically independent?
Yes, I do.
And you've stated previously that you'd be willing to resign if you felt that was not the case, that one of the things you would do if you felt you were inappropriately being pressured to shut down an investigation or the investigation was being stonewalled, that you would oppose those efforts. Is that correct?
I don't recall whether I said it here, but it's certainly true.
So in the steps before resigning, you would oppose those efforts at politically interfering. Will you commit that you would share with the American people, if you were compelled to resign under those sorts of circumstances, that that was the reason you resigned?
I think, Senator, I cannot answer that. Hypothetically, it would depend upon the facts and circumstances. In an appropriate case, I would. But I think I would need to. You know, I'm a prosecutor, and generally speaking, we don't talk publicly about our cases, and I don't know what context it might arise in. So I can assure you that if it's lawful and appropriate for me to do it, I certainly would.
Thank you. Do you believe 3 to 5 million individuals voted illegally in the 2016 election, as our president has alleged?
Well, Senator, I have no independent basis of knowledge about that. And I'm not in a position to comment on it.
And how do you plan on using the resources of the Department of Justice to investigate alleged instances of voter fraud, either in the 2016 presidential election or other elections?
I anticipate, Senator, we'll continue to do it the way we have been doing it during the 12 years that I served in both the Bush and Obama administrations. When that sort of information came to the attention of our offices, we have attorneys in each U.S. Attorney's office who are trained in handling election fraud matters. They consult with experts in the Justice Department's Public Integrity Section who are responsible for election crimes. In appropriate cases, they would launch an investigation that may result in federal charges.
And do you agree with the Department's recent decision to withdraw from a voter ID case in Texas where just last year the Fifth Circuit concluded that the Texas law in question actually had a discriminatory impact on minority voters, and the Southern District of Texas is currently considering the evidence on whether Texas enacted the law with racially discriminatory intent?
I've read newspaper stories about it, Senator. I had no role in the department's original position or its revised position, so I do not know what the legal basis was or what, if any, determination was made by attorneys in the department. If I were in that position, I would make sure to consult with lawyers who understand those issues and reach an independent decision about the appropriate course of action.
Well, I was encouraged in your statement that corruption in civil rights cases are among our most sensitive and important, and it's my hope that you'll continue what has been your laudable record of public service in ensuring that public integrity cases and civil rights cases are appropriately and timely brought. Ms. Brand, if I could, the Office of the Associate Attorney General oversees, among other components, the Office on Violence Against Women. And you once criticized the Violence Against Women Act, which established and funds that office, and something which my predecessor, the former vice president, was quite proud of having a hand in enacting, as a, quote, broad expansion of federal criminal law, unquote. If confirmed as Associate Attorney General, will you support the Office on Violence Against Women continuing its current activities to reduce gender-based violence and protect victims?
Well, Senator Coons, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's an issue that's, sorry, I think the microphone's on. Maybe I need to pull it closer. Is that better? That's an issue that's very important to me, actually. Chairman Grassley and Senator Ernst noted in their introductions that I serve on the board of directors of a nonprofit that, among other things, operates a domestic violence safe house and helps victims of domestic violence achieve independence and stability. So I absolutely support the work of the Office of Violence Against Women, and I would be honored to work with them.
Thank you, Ms. Brand. Forgive me. Mr. Rosenstein, if I might, we spoke yesterday at some length about your strong record of combating violent crime, pursuing public integrity cases, and protecting America's inventions and innovations through intellectual property enforcement. I'm especially interested in your view of the COPS Office, COPS programs, and COPS grants as a tool for combating violent crime. And in my closing 30 seconds, would be interested in your view on how we might work together to strengthen state, local law enforcement cooperation with federal law enforcement, both in IP protection, we talked about Customs and Border, and in combating violent crime.
Yes, thank you, Senator. I look forward, if I'm confirmed, to working with you on both of those issues. With regard to IP, as you know, I've been involved in the department's, the Attorney General's Advisory Committee with regard to intellectual property issues, so I'm familiar with those issues, and we've brought some significant cases in my district, and I'm committed to continuing that work. With regard to the COPS Office and combating violent crime and working with police agencies, I don't know all the details of it. My interaction with the COPS Office was limited to one incident, or one episode in which they came to Baltimore and initiated a COPS investigation, and I think it certainly can be a useful tool in an appropriate case. So I anticipate that we would use that authority as we would all others to try to work with and help improve state and local law enforcement.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.